So I've had one in my bag for 3 years. Lots of PGA Tour players are putting them in the bag, and loads of LPGA Tour players have had them in for years. We're seeing more club golfers do it. But should you be putting a 7-wood in your bag? An interesting question, and by the end of today's video, you're going to know exactly which golfers should put it in the bag and which golfers definitely won't need one of these.
So I think every golfer has a distance that they struggle with. And not just to reach, but a distance that they can hit the ball up in the air high enough, just like this one, where my distance is round about that 210 yards. But with this 7-wood, I feel I can just put a nice swing on it, and we can see that one just soaring up into the air, landing nice and softly next to the flag. And we see 33-yard peak height, carrying 204, total 207. And for years I resisted putting something like this in my bag because for me, I was too good a player and too young to have a 7-wood in the bag. Because we've all been told, haven't we, that you only put a 7-wood in the bag when you reach a certain age. Now, potentially, comment below, maybe I'm already at that age. But I've never really been a fan of fairway woods, and I've always kind of struggled with fairway woods a little bit. And I've always liked long irons. Now, the interesting thing for me is this club, instantly when I hit it, just the amount of loft on the club face looks great. And this shot, 210 yards, I'm not saying I have this a lot over water, but it's one that I need to be able to land on the green and stop. For a lot of you watching, I'm sure it'll be a shorter distance, but if you can stand up there, put a swing on it, and even that one that's a little bit thin, it's going to miss the green left. But we can see the carry distance would have been enough to still get me around the green. And the beauty is the ball was still stopping reasonably quickly. But for years, this would have been something that I'd have looked at and gone, right, I can get my 3-iron at that. And best of all in the world, this is, as 3-irons go, it's got a little bit of mass down there, so it's going to help me get the ball in the air. But I know with 3-iron, got to be spot on with this. So I've hit that really, really solidly. Here we can see it's coming in. And with the design there, we can see it's a good shot, but you can see how much more that released. So we can see carry 207, roll 221. Now on the TrackMan software, I'm out in Florida here, so these greens are relatively receptive. But we can see there from the good strike, 23-yard peak height. So it's definitely flatter than I would normally hit irons. And that was like as good as it gets. If I'm trying to hit it higher, I'm trying to hit a fade. But if I were to go again with 3-iron, stand up there, not quite got that one, a little bit out of toe. There it is, dead in that front bunker. Not in the water, but certainly not the kind of shot I'm looking to hit. So my first thing is, if you're somebody who swings the club a little bit slower, obviously your distance isn't going to be that 210 yards. But the extra design of the club head, bigger head, middle of the club head to try to catch the shaft up, it's going to launch the ball up in the air. The length of the shaft of the fairway wood is going to help you move it a little bit quicker. So straight away for you as a golfer, it's going to feel really easy to get the ball up in the air. And even if that one's drifting, you see it just stops so quickly. Now I know you're thinking, that's great. But maybe if you're watching, you go, well, I'm somebody who swings it a bit faster. I'm a good ball striker. Listen, PGA Tour players like Dustin Johnson, I should say live golfers like Dustin Johnson, put 7-wood in the bag because they want that ability to hit it high, hit it that distance they need and stop it quickly. And these are good lies, but even if that was sitting down a little bit, the club head's going to get through the grass. But for me, I love that idea that you can stand up there, put a swing on it, and even if I don't get the best strike, I want a little bit out of the heel. see the height, the ball speed stays up because of the metalwood design. It just clambers over that bunker and it's on the green and I'm putting. And for years, I think probably late 90s was definitely a spell where 7-woods went in the bag more often, but then kind of manufacturers moved into hybrids, saying it's a replacement for the long iron, but the shorter shaft of the hybrid really robs a lot of golfers of that speed. So I swing at a decent speed, and I would say I'm a reasonable ball striker. But for me, I just can't see the 3-iron ever going back in the bag. 7-wood's been in the bag 3 years. I've had a couple of different versions of 7-wood in my bag, but I love the look of it now behind the golf ball because I know what it does. Ultra versatile off different lies, and even some of those short shots around the green, you know, where guys are worried about stubbing the club. They might take putter, but the beauty is you could stand there almost put with the 7-wood. The design of the club, that sole isn't going to dig into the ground, and you can stand up there and just hit good little strikes with something like that all day long. So I opened the video with, you know, it's been in my bag for 3 years and there's lots of golfers putting it in, but you might not. And I kind of made the promise that I'd tell you who I think should put 7-wood in the bag. Well, for me personally, I think every golfer should have a 7-wood. I appreciate if you're playing links golf and it's blowing 50 mile an hour, you might not fancy a 7-wood in those conditions. But I think majority of golf for most golfers, 7-wood in the bag, keep the ball speed up, lots of club head speed, hit it high, soft landing at that challenging distance that maybe a 3 or a 4-iron should be doing in your bag. You should be looking at one of these. And if you haven't got one already, by the time you watch my next video, there might be a new addition to your bag.